everyone, what's good? Welcome to my channel. My name's Nancy and I've got a special Sims 4 build video today, inspired by a new digital horror series titled Told, the Mackenzie Files. Now this was created by some awesome friends of mine, and first things first, let's take a little sneak peek at the trailer.
There are things in this city that are not human.
I don't even know how long it's been since then. Can't trust the clock anymore.
Once you begin to notice them,
let's not forget Liverpool's most famous gambler, Mackenzie.
they begin to notice you.
Now, this series is free to stream until the 7th of November, and I'm going to link that in the description below so you can check it out. But to give you a quick summary, the character of Jen has returned home to Liverpool to try and find her uncle Mackenzie, a paranormal investigator who's gone missing under mysterious circumstances, and even more strange, scary things happen as she tries to uncover the truth. So make sure to catch that, the Mackenzie Files, this week. Now, in this speed build, or rather renovation, I'm going to be updating a base game house that I created for the release of the Sims 4 Paranormal Stuff Pack, but I'm going to shake things up a little bit and I'm going to include Uncle Mackenzie into the mix. So we're going to get a bit of CAS and some builds today, and let's just say for this Sims universe, he's moved to Forgotten Hollow, the vampire world, and he's going to research some strange things that have been going on in a very creepy rundown house with a dark history and a little something extra lurking beneath the foundation. So as you can see, I've just done the small little backdoor hallway area. There's an entrance in the rear of the house and it's just bookcases, but for those of you who know, the slimmer bookcase is actually a secret door which leads down to the stairs in the basement, and the basement we'll have a look at later on in the video. So for the majority of the build, all I'm doing is just recoloring a lot of the furniture and the pieces, or just swapping them out to fit more the vibe of Uncle Mackenzie. So let's just say he's moved into this house that's got a long history. Some of the furniture has been updated, some of it hasn't, and it's clearly not been looked after. So initially when I built the house, it was base game only, but this time I wanted to use as many packs as I could. So I used the City Living wallpaper because it looks a bit rank and dated, like there's been mold or something, and I used a ton of the vampire stuff, wall features where there's loads of cracks and wallpaper peeling, just to add to that aesthetic that this house has really been neglected and it's super old, and anyone who's bothered to stay here for a little bit, they've not cared enough to renovate the place, or it's just been a bit too creepy to stay long term and really invest in fixing it up. I really went to town on a lot of the old creepy portraits as well, like over the fireplace. I think that's a little bit excessive, but I figured I was thinking of those old classic junk shops which just have anything and everything. Oh, and I should probably mention right now, oh, why is there a window inside the house? My process was, obviously there's a seance table there for connecting to spirits and whatever, and I just thought, imagine the main ground floor area is for the public. So as a paranormal investigator or someone who's going to hold seances, you've got the waiting room for people who want to go in and connect to anyone on the other side, and then they sit in the main place. If you're someone who runs that place, or maybe you leave the room and you hire it out, you want a little peek in the window, see what's going on, see what the crack is. I just thought maybe that's why, just have a little peek, make sure no chaos or nothing too wild is happening. But anyway, that's why I thought it makes no sense, but I don't mind, it's The Sims. So now we've moved on quickly to the upstairs place. For the bathroom, again, it was just about making things a bit more run down and dated. I swapped out the bathroom suite for, well, I say the suite, I swapped out the toilet for that classic old, more Victorian one with the chain that came with the Vampires pack. Again, just showing, no one's got time to update this place. There's a ton of papers that are just lashed about the place because he's always, oh, someone's liked my military bedroom. I forgot that was on there. Check that out, by the way. It's part of my build video for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Shameless plug. Check that out. I'll pop it up on a card for you to visit later. But yeah, lots of papers, because when you see Told, the Mackenzie Files, remember, please watch that amazing digital horror series. When we're in Mackenzie's office, there's just a ton of papers from who knows how long ago with all the investigations. So in this place, this little upstairs apartment, it's not really about comfort, it's practicality. It's just a place where he can lay his head, but he's just always constantly got work and investigations in his mind. So you'll see the colour palette. Oh, cheeky little wine. Yeah, because you know what? This job is stressful. Uncle Mackenzie needs to unwind. But the colour palette for the house is very kind of beige and bland, only just because I think it just reflects really. Not that his personality is boring, let's not go with that. But again, it's simple. The most exciting thing in his life is his work and what he's involved in. So who's got time to start thinking about decorating houses and making them your own with your unique, design choices and such. And I just love, like, say, in the dining table area, he's still got some of his papers, and there's just a mix of chairs. So he's just found one lying on the road and just been like, oh, someone stumped that chair, it'll do. And it seats 3 because, interestingly, obviously in the series you'll see his niece Jen is quite important in his life. He's clearly got a relationship with his brother, Jen's father, so maybe they popped over together. But then also when we jump into CAS, you'll see I made the decision to put a wedding ring on his hand. Maybe there was someone very special in his life that he was married to, and either they disappeared under paranormal circumstances, or they couldn't stand the fact that Mackenzie was so buried in their work. Like, who knows? Adding a bit of intrigue and mystique. So yeah, if my mates are watching this who did the series, here's series 2 ideas. So in the bedroom, I'm just adding in a desk because he's just buried under more work, more research, and I've changed the carpet as well, you'll see in a second. Make it a bit more grubbier. Again, when he moved into this place, it was an absolute state, and he's not really done much to improve it. Oh, it looks so grim. That's such a gross palette, but it's so excellent as well in terms of detail and adding some more story behind some of the builds that you can create in The Sims. Later on, you'll also see that I add some pictures or sketches onto the wall, and it looks quite creepy, but in my head that's just Mackenzie doing some sketches of any kind of apparitions or spooky things that he's seen. Maybe they don't capture well on camera, so from memory he's just sketching away, pieced together a little jigsaw or a sketchbook of all these different kinds of paranormal things. Let's just go with that. It doesn't quite look like that. I mean, that one I zoomed in on, actually that was quite nice for R2 vibes, so let's go with that. Now we're moving on to the landscaping on the outside. We've moved the house to Forgotten Hollow, and I used a lot of debug items just to add to the creepy aesthetic, and broken down fencing. This area here, it doesn't really make sense, but I tried to make it make sense. It's just going to be a little pond area, and you'll see I add some gravestones to it, and that is actually going to be part of the story for what's going on in the basement in a little bit. And I was just playing about really, but I added some, little dragonfly effects and things, and I did a bit of the terrain painting just to create a little bit of a worn down path. At the end of the video, when I put in some pictures of the final lot and CAS, you'll see that I added a few more extra little bits and pieces just to create more of a story and an idea behind why that pond might be there. So hopefully that makes a bit more sense to the backstory. But now we are down into the basement. You've probably pieced together that we're going to have vampires down in here. If you're familiar with The Sims anyway, we have a couple of occult characters that you can build. There's aliens, there's vampires, as I said. Is there another one? I don't think so. I know The Sims 3 used to have werewolves and fairies. That is not a thing here. I think it's just the vampire. Oh, there's mermaids as well, but no, that's not the vibe. I didn't fancy doing an underwater lagoon. Honestly, I don't even think I have the build skills for that. Although that is something to maybe try and build up towards, creating a little underwater lagoon for mermaids. But anyway, I digress. Beneath this house are vampires. They're going to house 2 vampires. And just in terms of how it's going to be furnished, this is inspired again by the Mackenzie Files. Now, one of the old kind of like laws, myths, whatever you want to call it, in Liverpool is about a cemetery where there's a pyramid, and apparently there is someone sat upright inside the tomb with a winning hand of cards. If you want to find out more basically about what that's all about, watch the series. This build is me infusing a bit of that story into this Sims build here. So we've got the playing cards table, I've added a roaring fireplace, and it's just going to have a lot of creepy old aesthetics and items just to fill up the space and make it look a bit more creepy. I've added the pipe organ because as we're going to have vampires, I think this is their place when they want to hide out from the sun. They can play up, they're quite cultured, I'd say. They play the pipe organ. There's going to be a little reading nook for them. That idea of a reading nook, it kind of comes from Twilight, really, because obviously, like, in the Twilight world, the vampires don't sleep. They're just up 24/7, and you've got to occupy your time. How many reruns of your favourite film or TV series can you watch across eternity? I think there's probably a ton more books to read than there are TV series and films and songs to listen to. So I picked the slightly more fancy coffins because these vampires are going to be, they like the finer things in their life. They've been around the block for a while. They've probably accumulated a lot of wealth. I say that actually. They're living in a tiny, tiny basement. Maybe this is their little getaway. This is just one stop out of many. Something has brought them to Forgotten Hollow, which has then led to Mackenzie coming down here to investigate what the crack is, what's going on. Will he discover what's in the basement? I don't know. That's a different story to make up. This is their little home away from home, let's say. Let's romanticize it like that. In Forgotten Hollow, you get other vampire families as well, so there's definitely some kind of spin that you can put on this as to why, for vampires which are meant to be quite like classy and well off, why they've got such a modest living space. But then maybe just comes down to, they just like each other's company. Maybe that's all they need. They need each other and some music to play, some fire for warmth, although I think in vampire lore, fire isn't very good either. But we're going to ignore that. And they've got their books. You'll see, though, when we come to the pond, I mentioned it before, there are 2 gravestones in there and some steps leading up to a pond. Very sus, very sus. That's all I'll say on that. But now we are into the CAS makeover. And we're going to start off with Mackenzie. I couldn't think of a second name for him, so he's just Mackenzie Told. Very creative. And when I just generated a random sim at first, and they had that haircut, and I just thought if I put the little salt and pepper colour on it, I thought that's quite like a decent aesthetic. He's getting on a little bit, or the stress of the job has maybe grayed him prematurely. He's a fully grown adult, and the traits that I gave for him were he's a loner, he's a bookworm, and he's quite erratic, which I think he'd have to be. He's a little bit on edge, perhaps not all there, just because he's involved in a lot of stressful, singular work that can very easily mess with your head, I imagine. That's the character of this sim version of Mackenzie. He could be older in the series. I don't know. Go and watch it. Find out. For his wardrobe, it's again sticking with the beige, the neutral tones. It's very, he's serving me in my head very much kind of uni professor chic. I say chic, it's not even chic, it's practical. It's practical and sensible and very unassuming. You wouldn't think he'd be into anything a little bit wild just by looking at him. I did think on some level, what if I made him kind of Indiana Jones style, where he's an intellectual, pores over a lot of research, but he's very athletic and he's diving into all kinds of mischief. But then I thought, no, with kind of this kind of creepy horror vibe, he's not one to consciously kind of look after himself, or he's not excavating too much to try and get the fitness bug. So I just put together his last little cold weather item, Not much thrilling to kind of go too deep into, but we are now about to come up to my 2 favorite CAS creations, so much so that I've started rhythmically talking. But we're gonna come on to our vampires now. We have Gideon and we have Yasmin, or Yasmin, however you want to pronounce it. I think because she's going to be a little fancy gal, she's going to go by the name of Yasmin. First, we are with Gideon, and I specifically downloaded some new custom content just to really kind of drive that gothic vampire look for both of them, especially with the eyes. As you can see, they're custom eyes, and Gideon custom eyes, oh, but a bunch. Yeah, he's got custom eyes and a little scar on his lip that comes with the game, but the eyes are unique. And the jacket and shirt that he's got on, that was downloaded from CC, and his second outfit is a retexture of an existing item that comes from City Living. And basically the aesthetic for these two is they're from a hell of a long time ago. I'm not even going to try and assume I know what kind of decade, century they would have originated from based off of their clothes. I'm not a historian. All I'm saying is that's their creepy vibe. And I thought they're just staying true to that, but there's maybe a few more modern elements to it. They're very much glam vamps, you know, it's that vintage glamour kind of look that I was feeling inspired by. And there was a ton of stunning dresses that I kind of downloaded. I just went in a wormhole of just finding item after item to download. And at first, you know, the aim was the aesthetic has got to be a lot more kind of classic and of a past era. But then every now and again there were some outfits I thought, oh no, that's too gorge, I just want you in that outfit. And there's only so many hours I can spend trawling through CC to find the perfect items for every option of clothing the Sims have. They've got their everyday, they've got their formal, their athletic, their nightwear, their party wear, their swimwear, hot weather wear, cold weather wear, and just the options are endless. There's some incredible pieces that so many talented people have made, and you'll see even when it comes to Yasmin on her outdoor weather look, I spiraled a little bit. She went very 70s. It was giving me very much Scooby-Doo meets 70s horror, like teens just on a night out and things going awry. One thing I do have to shout out though is the gorgeous lipstick that Yasmin has. It's got drips of blood coming from it just to add that gorgeous kind of creepy aesthetic. It's such a vibe. And I got carried away with the eye makeup. I saw this gorgeous one which is basically glitter tears. I don't know why these vampires cry glitter. Hey, why do the colours sparkle in the sun? You know what I mean? There are some things we just don't understand, but they are what they are. And Yasmin and Gideon, they have just gorgeous glitter-stained tears around their eyes. It's a vibe. And on that note, gang, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed the little renovation and CAS creation inspired by the Mackenzie Files. I'll pop some photos at the end so you can get a better look at some of the rooms that I created. And once again, please make sure to watch Told the Mackenzie Files. It's available to download and stream for free until the 7th of November, so you still have a few more days left. Go and watch it, send some love to the team that created it. I'm so blown away by what they've achieved. So I will catch you all soon for another video. Have a beautiful and awesome rest of your day. Bye!